in today's video, we're going to be doing the Ark Island tier list. So, all these creatures we have right here are, I believe, all of them. I think we have everything. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anything. Of the Ark Island's tames, pretty much. So, pretty much we'll be going over the tames. Any creatures that aren't tameable won't be on this list because, well, it's no fun to really mention a aggressive creature. I mean, Ark's all about taming cool dinosaurs or fantasy creatures and stuff like that. So, this tier list is made by this person called Mad. I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to take this tier list. The only thing I did personally is add an F tier. So, that's just my own personal customization. So, do what you want with your tier list, but I'll leave down in the description below if you want to take this tier list. So, I'll probably consider doing like a DLC creature tier list in the future. The reason why I'm not doing it all together is because already right here is a lot of creatures. Doing all the DLC creatures will just take so long. Combine all this together, this will be like an hour-long video. So pretty much doing that, and most of these videos will be off script. So I'm gonna be just going based off of my personal experience using, because I pretty much have used all the tames here. There's definitely some more frequent than the others. So yeah. So in the primary future, we'll do the DLC one, and maybe in the far future, if I'm still, doing uploads and stuff like that, probably do the Ark Ascended creature tier list. So yeah. But yeah, with that all out of the way, let's just go ahead and get started. So the first guy we have is the dodo bird. But in the B tiers, this is just like a little pet kind of creature. Doesn't really provide anything useful or whatever. It's just like a nice little creature to have if you just want like a little pet, Next we have the Achatina. I'm gonna put this also in B tier because I really do like that it's one of the few creatures that give you just good amount of cementing paste, especially if like 2 or 3 of them set on wonder and you are like me and have like a auto collecting mod. They just give you so much cementing paste because I usually go AFK most of the time when I play Ark for mutation purposes, so I usually get a lot of cementing paste from these guys. And it's a snail. You can't go wrong with a snail. Tapihara, I'm gonna put this also in B. I do really like this creature. It's one of the very few creatures with a textile, which is cool. So, that's kind of the main thing I can really think about it that I really like, but also kind of just like its name, Tapihara. And I guess I should also mention, because definitely going to make it apparent as the further as we go. Some of these creatures, I just have personal nicknames, but you probably already see me flashing the creature's name on screen, so if, you care about their actual names and whatnot, it'll just be there, so I'm just gonna let that know, because some of the creatures will be like, well, that's not its actual name. I'm like, I know, I just call it that. The Patchy, I'm gonna put this guy in C tier. I like the Patchy because I think I just like that kind of dinosaur, like the headbutting ones. I don't remember what family or whatever they're in. I think they're cool. Definitely, I would like for us to have another one, because it's one of the very few creatures that we don't have many of, and I think it's kind of weird. And definitely do hope that we get like another one, whether it's like maybe it's like a community vote or just like added in a map or just whatever. Would love to see more of these guys return or be added. Dododigerous. I'm gonna put this creature in A tier. Just a really good stone collector, and I really like the guys, honestly. I think there are other things that look similar like it, or maybe not similar, but like probably in the same family. At least I would imagine. At least I hope so. I don't know. I could be making stuff up, or I'm thinking the wrong thing, but anyways. So yeah, just a good stone collector, and stone's one of those resources that is very common, but used a lot, at least for me personally, when it comes to building structures, because I personally like building like structures out of stone, because I don't know, I just like it. It kind of gives like castle vibes or whatever, but also good for collecting the stone to make cementing paste, because well, some maps it's kind of hard to get cementing paste because not all maps have the beaver dam, so it's a little challenging, and if you have a creature that you can get a bunch of chitin with and you have a Dododigerous, perfect, match made in heaven. Alright, the Raptor. I'm gonna put this also in a C tier. I just very neutral, honestly, about the Raptor, if I'll be honest. I mean, it's like a creature that if it's nearby at the start of my Ark adventure, I'll try to tame it, but like, it's not something I would like fully go out if I already have like a base and stuff settled. Like maybe as like a little defense or like a simple travel mount, very expendable travel mount, I guess I could say. But you know, it's just a early game creature that will give you some problems, especially new in Arc. But you know, it's decent, but you know, not my personal favorite. Alright, got the Megatherium. Gonna definitely put this another A tier. It's a pretty simple creature, to be honest. It's just mainly good at killing bugs, and boy oh boy, it's really good at that. Definitely a creature, if you don't know what to use against the Broodmother, because you know, not everyone knows Megatheriums are just the easiest way to deal with the Broodmother. They're just perfect, you know? Get rid of insects, get that buff, become stupidly tanky and whatnot, to the point where you don't need to really like get like good saddles for them. Like I wouldn't say you need to look for like a 100 armor saddle for the most part. Anything that's like maybe like 50 or higher, you should be fine because you're gonna be getting that insect effect whenever you kill a bug. So they're stupidly strong, and you know they're also good against the good old the death worms. That's what I was trying to figure out. Getting some like black pearls and other stuff from it. So definitely good guys to use against that, and they also are good in the swamp cave. I don't think it'd be fully in the swamp cave, but I could be wrong. I don't know why I'm blanking out on that. But yeah. Troodons, these are just a D tier creature, honestly. I really don't tame them that much. They're just kind of like an annoying pest, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, ah, great. I just so happen to be close to a little pack of Troodons and I'm dead. And, you know, it kind of sucks, honestly. And the taming methods not even make the creature really worth it, honestly, because you gotta sacrifice, like, your own creatures to it. So most of the time you have to, like, most of the time I think use, like, baby wyverns or something like that. So, you know, not really a needed tame, but I mean, I can understand if you want those little guys because they could be like very annoying to deal with people who don't know how to deal with Troodons. You could just send a pack at them and they're probably gonna die because of the toxic whatever bite. I don't know what if they have a paralyzing bite. I'm not sure, but all the torpidity and whatnot. Spinosaurus, that's gonna be a solid A tier. I was debating to put this thing in S because I really do like how it has the bipedal and quadrupedal stance. I think that's really cool. Kind of wish we had like another creature like that in Arc, or like a stance swap, or at least more than that. I know there's other creatures that have like different stances, like the Stego, Marcosaurus, for example. But kind of like the whole like change between like on all twos and all fours. So it's a pretty cool, I think, gimmick. And also the good old aquatic buff is always nice. And these guys are definitely good to run the like Rockwell boss fight in Aberration. So definitely a very good solid creature. Damchuodon, I blanked out for your name, even though it's just right there. This is like a C tier creature. Really, I don't know if I've tamed this guy before, or if it's just been way too long, because the only way you can mostly find these guys is, for the most part, the swamp. Not a lot of people like to go in the swamp, especially me. So, I mean, they're definitely good to have like a primitive incubator when you increase its melee to have it heat up or something like that, makes eggs hatch or whatever. So that's very nice. I just don't think it's 100% worth it. It's not even like a hard tame at all. It's like not a creature I would like seek out for, pretty much. Good old little kangaroo. I'll put it a solid B. Good travel mount for how how like far they can jump. They can just leap distances, and it's really good. And not a bad tame either to do so. So really cool creature. Oh yeah, also they do have like nursing thing with the baby in the pouch. It's been a while since I honestly tamed one of these guys. Maybe I should do so at one point. Alright, the Rhynio, and this is going to be our first S tier creature. Now, I want to say this, is that at first, I was kind of against the Rhynio winning the vote, because when reading its old description and whatnot, it just seemed like just an OP creature, just for it being an OP creature. So I'm like, well, that's just not fun. I don't mind OP creatures. I just think that they should have, like, you know, have their own, like, good niche that they're OP at, like maybe a good PvP or PvE dino, resource gathering dino, stuff like that, you know? And the Rhynio had like a mix of everything. It was gonna be a big, strong dinosaurs would be like the Giga of the skies. You can pick up creatures like large as T-Rexes and even dinosaurs in the water, and it could also even gather like good resources and whatnot. So I was just kind of like, about it. I kind of didn't want it. But now that the Rhynio has been in ARC for like about a year or two, I don't really remember how long it's been in. My opinion has changed. I really do like the Rhynio. I personally do think it's maybe because of its taming method, because it's like a Reaper, but not. Because I like the aspect that you can pretty much take any creatures, because I guess it kind of makes sense for this creature to have this, because at that point a lot of older players or whatnot were still playing during the time that the Rhynio would take the stats and whatnot of your creature, but also depends on the drag weight for how successful those stats would be. And pretty much you could have your own mutated custom Rhynio, which I thought that's really cool. Because at that point of the time whenever Rhynio was added, most people, whether it's maybe a mix of PvE, PvP players, had like a Giga or Argentavis line. Even though I would say if you do want like a good Rhynio and you want to start breeding mutations to start getting that. Brontos are better because they're way easier to tame in my personal opinion, because they're a lot more slower than the Argentavis and Giga. So the only downside is that they have a bigger like attack radius, but you can just like build a trap and snipe them from afar, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so really like the aspect of the Rhynio taming method, taking the mutation stats of whatever creature you're giving it. But it's also just a really cool creature in general. I was a big fan of its design, because I thought its design in the submission was okay, but wasn't my favorite. But I like that it can pick up dinos, making some tames a lot more easier. Like use a Rhynio to pick up a Tyrannus, put it in a trap. That's for the most part the one that I would really use it for. It does have the whole like pick up like structures and whatnot. I don't really mess around with that too much, to be honest, because it's kind of I do like the resin mechanic that it has. That's also pretty cool, with how you can use it as aggressive with all the different ammunition types, and also use it as defensive with armor. So that's so cool. So really like this creature. Was a big fan of it at the start, at least whenever it was submitted, but I have turned around for this guy. Scorpion, it's just gonna be an F tier, honestly. This is where I would call for a majority of these creatures that I know I'm going to be putting in F tier. The evil goons of ARC. That these creatures really, you kind of don't want to tame, but you have the option to tame them if you wanna. And they're just more as like obstacle creatures, where for the most part you just fight, kill them, and then just move on. Which, you know what, I'm going to put the Troodon down in F tier actually, because I feel like it fits better with where the Scorpion is at. So there's nothing really crazy. I mean, if it had like a stronger stain that can knock out creatures a lot better, then maybe I would have liked it more. But as for what it is, it's just kind of Gigantopithecus, I'm gonna put this fella in a solid B tier. The DLC that I received like a little while ago hasn't really changed my opinion about this creature dramatically. I would say that if we had like old Gigantopithecus, it would be C, but now it's B because there's a lot more fun, unique uses. Like it can throw players off its shoulder. I think that's kind of funny. You have other like creatures on its like shoulder pads on it, so that's cool. It can also climb up on vines, and I think that's pretty. It's like just a solid creature. Allosaurus. I'm gonna unfortunately put this guy in C, and I really like the Allosaurus. I think just in general as a dinosaur, just always liked it. It's a cool, unique dinosaur, and it in ARC is kind of cool, but also boring at the same time, if that makes sense. I like the idea of making it into like a larger creature that's pack-based. I think that's pretty cool and interesting idea. I just wish there was more to it, honestly. It's like a creature that I definitely hope if they ever do another wave of TLCs in ARC that the Allosaurus gets it, because I feel like what would be cool is like maybe in that pack of a Allosaurus there's an alpha variant. Not like how alphas normally are in ARC with the red glow, but maybe like the Allosaurus have like an interesting crest or whatnot on it, so you would tell between it and the alphas, and maybe you have to like take out like lagoons or the other pack members, then you knock out the alpha, and then you can use that alpha to tame other Allosaurus that are not alphas. Maybe like if you have a higher level, you can convince that your Allosaurus is stronger than the wild one and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that would be kind of cool, you know? Definitely a creature I hope it gets TLC, and yeah. Microraptor, this is an F tier creature. It's like the same thing when it comes to Troodon. It's just that one creature that isn't very strong at all, but just has an annoying status effect, or it's just annoying because you usually know if you get hit by these creatures, you're dead. Microraptor, stun, depending most of the time where you're at, you're dead. So it's just very annoying to deal with. And the counters to the Microraptor is kind of because for the most part, you just either need a Microraptor, or if you're playing on ASE, you can use a Cinemacrops. As for now, ASA doesn't have Lost Island, so that sucks. But yeah, Baryonyx. I think I'm put the Baryonyx in S tier. Probably, in my opinion, for the most part, on at least on the island. I don't know if I can say that for all the rest of the maps that the Baryonyx is in. One of the best, or the best, cave exploring creature, pretty much. Good on land. It's good in the water. Even though I wouldn't 100% recommend it in the underwater caves because there's a lot more bigger creatures that can overpower your Baryonyx, but it's still like a decent choice, I would say, because if you have a fully aquatic creature, you only want to travel the cave in by foot for the parts. It all depends on the artifact, what the artifact cave is, but for the most part, there's like a little bit of land you gotta traverse on, and usually there's some like bats, some scorpions, snakes, whatever. So it's just a really good creature to have. It also has that little like increased damage to Spinos and Sarcos, which for the most part is more useful on the Sarcos, since you'll see them a lot more in the caves. I could definitely see the usefulness for it against Spinos, since definitely an aberration that buff against Spinos would be a lot more useful. But other than that, very useful creature. I really like it a lot, and plan on using more, especially when it comes to aberration. Good old turtle. I'm gonna just put him in C tier. It's just definitely a way more, I would say, a PvP kind of style creature with its, tanking it to absorb bullets and stuff. But like, as a person who mostly plays PvE, it's just like, oh yeah, I gotta kill that creature, get some hide. So it's like just an early game, like raw meat and hide gather, like collecting creature once you kill it, because get a bow, shoot in that quite a few times, dead. So haven't really tamed them that much, but I mean, I can understand if you want to have them because they're okay. One thing that have always bothered me is that these guys look way more like a tortoise, but they can swim finely in the good old waters. Maybe just like a personal thing that annoys me a little bit. But Hyaenodon, probably another C tier creature. Don't really get that much to say other than that it's like, if you encounter Hyaenodon pack by yourself, you're in trouble. If you're not, well, I don't know. Just don't really see a point for the most part of taming the creatures. It's kind of close to the dodo bird to say it's a pet kind of thing, because it is like more like actual like doggish size, unlike something like the direwolf that's way bigger. This is like more like closer to like a real life dog size, pretty much. So I mean obviously real creature, but I mean existing dogs these days. But yeah. And, it has a meat preserving thing, which is nice, but, other than that, I don't see the point of taming this guy. Dilophosaurus, I'm gonna put this in D tier because while I do feel like it does kind of fit a little bit in the F tier, at least how I'm using it, with it being like, oh, it's just a creature you just fight and for the most part you don't tame. I mean, I've tamed quite a few Dilophosauruses in my time in Ark. I think the creature itself is really cool. Maybe it could get a TLC, maybe it'll be like a bigger, more intimidating Dilophosaurus where it can actually have more uses, but I can understand if they want to keep it as more of a early game predator you have to deal with. So it's just probably more in my personal that I really like the design and whatnot, and sure the spit can get annoying, but it's not like unfun like these two right here. So I'm gonna give this a good solid A tier creature. Probably I would say one of the best. I'm not sure if I can say it's the best, but aquatic teams you can get for its ability to grab onto stuff, and definitely very good once you kill one for black pearls and stuff, so that's also very nice. It's also kind of like scary to encounter one of these guys, and I think that's what I kind of like, because it adds like another like little level of fear, especially if you just run into an alpha too, so you will be terrified. So I definitely do like just how much the Tuso adds like fear and whatnot in the ocean, because I mean krakens, giant squids, and stuff like that has always been like stuff in like fiction or like even real world today. Like I definitely probably know some people are scared of these like giant, like don't remember what family they're called at the top of my head, but anyways, giant squids. So yeah, definitely a very cool creature, definitely a useful tame, so definitely a good solid A tier pick. Rex is also going to be joining the A tier pick. It's just a big, tanky, high damage dealing creature, and that's just what the T-Rex kind of is. And that's perfectly fine, you know? Not all creatures need like 20 different mechanics and are micromanaging with some stuff. Sometimes they just need to be basic and be a big creature that just deals a lot of damage, and you just can't go wrong with a Rex army to deal with like boss fights and whatnot. It's a very common use, and it's understandable why it's a common use for stuff like that. Dunkleosteus. So I actually recently tamed one, and some stuff I forgot about these guys. So I'm gonna be putting them in a solid B tier. I would have put them more in C tier due to the fact that I kind of forgot how useful these guys are in the ocean. Mainly due to the fact it's resource gathering with being able to smash metal nodes and stuff like that. So definitely a useful tame, and I would say probably even more useful for the center for it having a lot more, at least in ASA, with a lot more like depth and whatnot with it. So there's a lot more resources and stuff to grind with those guys. I mean, it's also just a really cool looking creature. So really like this guy. So good solid pick in B tier. We're gonna put C for Carno because it's just a very middle in the road kind of creature, honestly. I mean, he did get the TLC with its little, like mini TLC with the bleed, which was definitely very nice. It's kind of weird because it's in a spot between, at least when it comes to a raptor and an Allosaurus, in my opinion. Some people say it's like between a raptor and a T-Rex, but I think the Allosaurus is like a decent thing to compare it with. And it's kind of only, I would say, mainly used for a decent travel mount. And I mean, it's not the best, but I mean, you could have far way worse. And it has decent lethality to it with his bleed and whatnot. But would it be a creature I would 100% recommend in the caves? But if you got nothing else, it could do fine. You know, it could be fine. Electric eels. So we're gonna put. We might put this in it. I think I put in D tier. Don't think it's like a bad creature at all, but most people, if you have played Ark, especially if you go down the deep ocean, we have been paralyzed by one of these guys here and there, and usually and most of the time ends up poorly for us. But I don't think they're like that bad where they're F tier worthy for me personally, but these guys are definitely very annoying to deal with. Triceratops. I don't know where I'll put this guy. I think I'll put in a solid B tier. Not like the best creature you can tame, but I do really just. I mean, I like Triceratopses in general, or that line of dinosaurs with those guys. I really like them. They're very cool looking, and I really did like the TLC with like the charge or whatever, like the animation of that. Also like the rivalry buff or whatever it gets against other larger apex, I guess, or larger carnivorous dinosaurs. That's also really good. Just overall, just a solid, like somewhat, I would say, early game creature to get because it's a pretty decent berry and a thatch gatherer, I believe. I don't remember if it's a thatch or wood gatherer at the top of my head, but just overall a decent creature, you know. Diplocallis. I feel like I'm gonna put this guy in D tier, honestly. It's just very strange to me, at least for me personally. We don't have that many amphibians in Ark, and I feel like we should. But this guy is just like one of those creatures you just kind of forget about, and then you remember what they do, and you're like, wow, that's still not gonna make me want to go out and tame it, because these guys, for the most part, in most of the maps are in more swampy areas, so not a very fun area to go to. But also they're very small and weak, so for the most time they get killed by most of the bigger creatures in the swamp. But also taming one I wouldn't say is really worth it. I mean, they're definitely good, like maybe little explorers because they're pretty fast in the water, and they do have the ability to give you some oxygen. But I mean, for the most part, whenever you're getting ready to explore the ocean cave, or at least I would also think if you're already heading to the swamp, you probably already have like stuff getting ready to make scuba pretty much. So at that point, it feels just way better just to make the scuba gear and just go on a way stronger aquatic mount. So I don't see the purpose of really taming these guys. They're very cool though. I kind of like the arrow shaped head of them, but definitely a creature that could maybe get a TLC. But I wouldn't say they're like in the top 5, maybe. Good old dire bear. We'll put B for bear. Just like overall, like I said, definitely a good, decent, solid tame. It's found in the redwoods, so it's a little sometimes scary to go in the redwoods for the most part because there's also a bunch of things that kill you. But at the same time, it's just also, I mean, it's a bear. I mean, I like bears personally, so definitely get a little brownie points for that for me. But also, it's just a decent creature. Not strong, not the strongest at all, but it's also just, good, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. It's a good old travel mount, and it also has the ability to get like honey and whatnot from beehives if you don't want to do the whole bee taming method, which is understandable. That taming method is a bit annoying, but yeah, definitely a good solid creature. Argentavis, we have another S tier joining the roster up there. I think, in my personal opinion, the Argentavis is just the better Giga. And I'm not saying that with stat wise or just like how good they are compared to each other. The Argentavis is just way more fun to use than Giga for me. Love the stacking method with increasing its melee and whatnot. It has like an option to use those stacks for a speed buff, which I wouldn't say is 100% needed all the time, but it's a good situational buff, and I can understand if you want to use it. Also, it's a kind of a fun taming method where you gotta feed it, of course, and it's like, okay, we're now best friends, and then you just go out on a killing spree, pretty much. It's just a fun taming method too. So overall, really I like this creature. Don't have as crazy much to say compared to those two, but I mean, this creature makes killing other creatures really fun, I guess. That might be a little weird or morbid to say out loud, but that's how I feel about him. Tyrannosaurus, we're gonna have another S tier join the roster. I love myself a Yudi. It's my personal opinion, and maybe others' opinions, the best support dinosaur you can have when it comes to doing the boss raids. Getting that damage reduction and the damage boost for your allies dinos is always nice, and it's always good to have one. If you're not using a Yudi for the most part, you're not gonna do well in the boss fights unless you have your stats or whatever like extremely high. But you can never go wrong with a Tyrannosaurus. And sure, they can be a little bit annoying to tame due to the fact they're always with a carnos and stuff, and sometimes that can be annoying. But it's definitely worth it because these are just an overall really cool creature. And it's one of the very few like supportive theropods that we have in Ark, and I would definitely like to see maybe another one of that. I mean, technically we have the Styracosaurus that was added to the official game, so I guess we already have that one. Next we have the Otter, and I'm gonna put him in a I think I'll put the Otter in a solid A tier because it's one of those creatures that's definitely, I would say, a pet that you would have, but it's a useful pet. Mainly for it being able to carry multiple artifacts in its inventory. It's a small thing, but it can make things a lot much easier. Because sometimes some artifact caves are just really brutal and you just don't really want to go back in it again. And sometimes the artifact just instantly respawns as soon as you grab it, and you're like, man, I can't hold this artifact due to the fact that I can only hold one of these at a time. But then you have an Otter, you get 2 of those artifacts, and who knows, maybe you get a 3rd one spawn. I don't think that really happens that often. But just overall, a good, solid, cute little pet creature with decent amount of usage to it. Woolly Rhino, ooh, this is one I'm not sure. So I pressed that for some reason. I'm not sure if I want to put this A or S tier. You know what? I'm putting it in S tier actually, the Woolly Rhino. I first was kind of meh about these creatures, at least I would probably put it in B tier if it wasn't for one thing. Fjordur. So in Fjordur, in my ASE little like playthrough stuff with my friends, I wanted to use only mammals since it just felt fitting for a map like Fjordur to have only mammals. So my go-to for the bosses for the Fenrir boss and other stuff was a mix of mammoths and woolly rhinos. And boy, oh boy, woolly rhinos opened my eyes to how fun they are. if you have never had a super, like, either mutated or really high up in the melee wooly rhino, and you haven't charged at something, you need to do that, because oh my goodness, it's a fun thing to do, and the damage it does is usually crazy most times. There's very few, unless it's a low level woolly rhino. For the most part, you're gonna be like dealing at least half or even potentially one-shotting a decent amount of the creatures in the Arc roster with these guys, because I mean they have a giant horn, so most of the time if you get impaled by that, you're not gonna make that. Fun fact. But yeah, I love these guys. Definitely can't wait to use them again, because I'll probably be using them in my Fjorder series in ASA whenever that happens. Good old Argentavis, I probably pronounced that somewhat right. I'm gonna put this in D tier, unfortunately, because I think this is a cool little dinosaur you can have. The only unfortunate thing is that it's one of the older dinosaurs in Ark, so that definitely means over time it has got a little bit of power creep. Not the creature itself, but other dinosaurs like. For the most part, the Archaeopteryx is a creature I forget exists until I'm in the Redwoods, or even in Scorched Earth, I saw a couple of them. But a creature like the Sinor Macrobs just kind of blows this creature out of the water for usefulness. The only thing is I don't know what else could be done for the Archaeopteryx to make it a little bit more useful, because I don't know how it would be used like in a different way. So I would definitely be open for a TLC or whatnot for this creature, but I just don't see enough, nor I really ever used it at all, for it to be higher than a D for me. I'm gonna skip ahead, and because we have the Unicorn and the Equus, and for the most part they're the same thing, so I'm putting these both in C tier. I mean, it's just a good, decent travel mount, and the Unicorn's just a rare variant of the Equus, and that's nice. Definitely wish the Unicorn had like another signature ability or something to make it a little bit worth it, because it's just a trophy tame, which is fine, but I feel like if a creature's gonna like have one of them spawn per map, it should have something that's kind of worth the tame, Manta, it's a solid. I'm putting Mantas in D tier actually, because it does fit the whole goon, or just like a creature you'll just definitely fight when it comes in the ocean, because a lot of these guys swarm good old whales and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know, I just don't really go out and tame them, because they're just kind of pretty good speedy trap amount, I would definitely say, but it's not something I would seek out for, if I'll be honest. But I mean, if you like manta rays and stuff, I can see someone taming this. But these are not like annoying goons or whatever, I would say, for F tier, because if you have a Megalodon, for the most part, you're just gonna be fine killing these guys. Good old Thyla. Ooh, where do I want the Thyla at? I think the Thyla's a good A tier, honestly. I was thinking about S, but I don't really think I really go out to tame these guys that often. It's not even that they're a bad creature at all. I feel like I'll be smoked in the comments if I dare label this creature as bad, because it's definitely not. It's like a really good killing machine, because if you successfully chain bleeds off, you can kill any creature within like under 2 minutes for the most part. So it's really strong with its bleeding. It's also really good for the cave explorer. And for the most part, I can see why people would say that this is the best cave explorer creature, because it's powerful, got that bleed, and most of the creatures in the cave this guy can just deal with ease. The only reason why I don't have it in S tier if it's that good is just these are also a really annoying creature. Just 1 pounds from the redwood forest, and it's just very annoying to deal with, because it's either it's game over for you because of how powerful these guys are, or you're just gonna have like destroyed armor and lose a lot of HP because of the bleed. And that's what's really annoying about the guys, because you're gonna take a little bit of fall damage as well while you get pounds. It's maybe probably why I have these guys in more A than S, because they can be annoying at times pretty much. I believe some of them do spawn in caves, so that's also really to deal with. Alright, next we have the Kentro. This is a creature I usually forget exists most of the time, so let me put this in C tier. Just one of those smaller creatures that you really can't ride, which I don't mind we have those in Ark. but like at the same time, most of the people want to ride on their creatures, or if it's a shoulder pet creature, they usually have like good abilities. Because now I'm thinking about it, it's been quite some time, I think, that we've had a creature that isn't a rideable or a shoulder mount, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if we'll have any more of those guys, but I can understand why not more of these guys are added, because most creatures that have abilities and stuff, the player usually has control over them because they're a shoulder mount or a rideable creature. But I mean, these guys are okay. They have the whole like little damage back, kind of like how the Arthropleura or whatever has, so definitely nice to help deal with creatures. But they also have like a pack buff too, which is definitely kind of nice. But I mean, other than that, they're just fine. The little penguin, put an also in C tier. Not really like a tame you would like seek out for the most of the time, other than one thing and one thing only: polymer, pretty much. These guys are what you usually set up for a polymorph. Oh my god, a polymer farm. God, I don't know if I'm gonna even include that. Me perishing with the same polymer. Yeah, pretty much that's what they really are used for, but it's not really bad. I mean, I have the Argentina in B tier because it's only really good to get many pace. So this guy would definitely skip the step out of that, but the only thing is organic polymer, and the thing that sucks about organic polymer is a lower stack limit than regular polymer, and also spoils over time. So definitely need a lot of these guys, or at least a decent amount of them, like making more of these baby penguins to successfully do it. So not bad, but I wish a little better. The Giga, now this might be a controversial thing. I think the Giga is C tier, and it's not that it's bad or anything. The Giga is just boring to me. Like, I really just don't, for the most part, go out and tame Gigas because they're just, okay, let me just do a little num num num, that's all I do. They're just like pretty much a bigger, stronger T-Rex. That's kind of what Gigas are, and they're just fine. I mean, I don't really go out and tame Gigas, especially with the Argentavis. I prefer this creature over that by a lot, so the Giga's just kind of, I mean, I can understand why people tame them. They're really strong, like I said, but for me, I like to have more fun with my creatures. If they're all just, I'm just gonna bite you down and you're gonna die, that's kind of boring to me sometimes. I mean, it has a bleed and also has that old blood rage or whatever mechanic or something where, if it's a certain amount of HP, it'll just kill your other creatures, including you. Kind of a little iffy with that mechanic. I mean, I can understand why, because it's a strong creature, but I don't know. Plesiosaur, this is probably another C tier creature. It's unfortunate because I do really like the Plesiosaur in general. I think it's a really, like, cool creature, like a cool looking, I think is it a marine reptile? I think it is. I don't know. I am probably gonna get, like, roasted at one point during this when it comes to, dinosaur family names or what a dinosaur is. I have a feeling it might happen. But, really like these guys. They're just really cool looking. Plesiosaur itself in Arc is just kind of ugly looking, if I'll be honest that, but also doesn't have too many unique things to it. It's kind of like a step to get a Mosasaurus, or just like a weaker Mosasaurus, if I'll be honest. So, not a creature I really go out to really tame. The Mammoth, I'm gonna put this in a solid. I think we'll put this Mammoth in an A tier. I always like mammoths and elephants in general. I think they're really cool creatures and all. And the Mammoth is just a very useful creature with its TLC that it got. I really like a lot of stuff of it. Like, you can pick up like smaller creatures with this trunk and throw them off. I think that's kind of fun. It also is a really, really good wood gatherer. I don't think it'll be, I don't know if it's better than the beaver or not, if I'm gonna be honest. I think the beaver has a bit more like weight reduction, but honestly I can't remember at the top of my head. But still really good wood gatherer, and also do like the second edition with the drums and stuff, which I think like the stamina recharge. Honestly, I can't remember at the top of my head of what the drums exactly do, but it's also a very fun little like mini game, I think overall they definitely killed it when it comes to the Mammoth TLC. One of my favorite TLCs they did, so really good creature, love the guy. Iguanodon, I'm gonna put this in a B tier. It's definitely a creature I would say I don't really go out and tame, but it's probably one of the best traveling mounts to the fact it has one thing: infinite stamina. May not be the fastest, I would say, but dear lord, sometimes whenever you just have low stamina, that just equals death for you for the most time in Ark. So it's definitely good to keep manage your stamina. But the Iguanodon doesn't have to worry about that. It's overall also a decently looking creature as well. Definitely, I would recommend it. You know, tame it, I guess. But overall, decent. Giant bee. I'm gonna put this in a C tier because while I think it has a decent usage of the honey, the sweet vegetable cakes, I think that's all nice and dandy. Taming it's not fun. The only reason why I tame it for the most part is because I gotta make sweet vegetable cakes, mostly for my Aquatinas so they can eat because they don't eat anything else. And I don't want to get polymer because if they eat polymer, they die. So that's not fun. But they were definitely a lot more useful for my island series since I was using Therizinosaurs to fight the bosses. So having the sweet vegetable cakes is definitely handy with all that healing and whatnot, where you kind of don't really need a Daedon, honestly. But I mean, other than that, the creature itself, besides the honey usage, is kind of I mean, it does do the whole little boost and stuff, I think, with the greenhouse. Or at least I thought. I mean, I know it said in ASE that, you know, you get like a little production or whatnot bonus, but I don't think I really see it in ASA unless it's just a thing in general and doesn't show text, or maybe I'm mistaking it for something. It could also be that. But, you know, overall decent. The Ankylosaur, I love the Ankylosaur. It's probably my favorite dinosaur. At least the species of these guys are. I really like them. But I'll put the Ankylosaur in a solid A. For the creature itself, it's just pretty much your like ore gathering dinosaur, like, you know, rock material stuff. Good at collecting metal, that's its main signature thing because of its metal weight reduction. I personally kind of believe they should get a little buff when it comes to the weight reduction of crystal and obsidian. Because sure, while the weight reduction for the metal is kind of insane, the Ankylosaur itself doesn't have that crazy amount of weight to it. So if you're going on a large collecting spree, you might have to consider getting another Ankylosaur somewhere just to gather if you're trying to clear out a huge section of an area. So kind of wish they get a little buff for melee obsidian and crystal, stuff like that. But other than that, really like the creature. Phenomia, or like, I'm not sure if it's the pig at all. Sometimes they call it piggy, but honestly I don't know. I'm gonna put this in D tier. I can't say I have not tamed one of these guys in a while. The only thing I really remember, honestly, because I haven't tamed them in a while, I kind of forget what they do, is that they poop a lot. And that's really good for fertilizer, which I guess that's useful. But if you also have a wyvern, they also poop 2 times. And some other creatures poop 2 times, or even their poop is good. I'm talking a lot about poop, but overall it's just okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the guy because it also doesn't do that much. So it's a D tier. The Parasaur, I'm gonna put this guy in a solid B tier. A good creature that you can find in most beaches or other areas. I think it's like a creature that's found in most maps, or at least majority of them. I can't say all of them, but I know it's like majority of the maps in Ark. And, you know, I can see why. It's just a simple, basic, early game tame. You can even, like, use the Bola club if it's low enough level, or if you have a high enough melee or better club, just whatever. Not really a difficult tame at all. And even with it being kind of weak and stuff, it can still hold decently on its own. And it's really useful for mostly PvP purposes with its, alert thing that you can set, like an alert system, so you know if there's like an enemy like tribe or whatever about to raid you, if you're in a cave or like an area that you know is like no other dinosaurs are really be spawning there. So I can see that purpose. Not strongly PvE with that alert. I mean, I can see if you're just trying to use it, but if you're on the island or at the center, for example, it's got to detect almost everything in water, so it's not the greatest with that. But yeah, just still a solid dinosaur to have. Good old Lystrosaurus. This is gonna be like a C tier dinosaur. Actually, you know, we might put him in B tier because it's like the same category, I would say, as the dodo bird, where it's like a more used as a pet, and it's kind of cute. Whenever you do pet it, you get the good old little backflip or whatever those guys do. It's kind of cute. But they also provide a little XP bonus, which is definitely very handy. For the most part, whatever I do is whenever I have, you know, do a lot of XP grinding, I just had like my Therizinosaurs, at least for the island, I would say, just in one area, hatch a bunch bunch of eggs with all the berry Therizinosaurs, and then activate the little XP thing, and I just get a bunch of XP from killing the baby Therizinosaurs. So definitely very good guy to have if you just want to get a bunch of levels on one creature. The only downside is that it has to be around in order for it to work. But I mean, that's not too bad at a cost, but I can see decent usage for that. Titanoboa is gonna be under the F tier because the spided bead are only like, I would say proper snake. I know there's also the basilisk, but I guess like real world snake, I suppose. It's kind of you know? I mean, it's definitely, I don't know if I would say if it's accurate or it's not accurate. It's hard to say because if it's like close to its actual size, because I feel like it could be definitely be bigger. The only issue is that for me, because I would definitely like the Titanoboa to get a TLC, but the only issue when it comes to some of these dinosaurs that I have to receive a TLC that are usually regarded as annoying is that you don't want them to be too strong or at least have a lot going on. Because then when it comes to cave exploring, like let's just say that Titanoboa has like a wrap ability or something. Just imagine Deal being wrapped while like a bunch of like onyxes or whatever, or Sonics, I don't know the bat's name, just peck at you while you're doing it. It's annoying, you know? That would just be not fun. So I can understand why the Titanoboa may just never get a TLC or get a lot of stuff added to it. But yeah, it's F tier, so that's unfortunate. Good old dolphin or the Ichi. We'll just do, it's just a travel mount, pretty much, as in the ocean, I would say. I did like the little thing in ASA with its interactions with the Shatsosaurus. I think that's pretty cool. I really like it. It's like a neat little, thing that they added, so I do like that a lot, but that doesn't, like, mean the Ichi is, like, or, I'm just gonna say dolphin, is extremely useful just for that alone, but, you know, it's still like a cool little creature. I really like it. Brontosaurus. Oh boy. I'm gonna put the Brontosaurus in B tier because while it's kind of like I'm gonna say currently because I feel like we're gonna get the Brachy from our conditions added in the base game at some point. It's currently the second biggest dino when it comes to sauropods. And it kind of just feels to use, mainly because I think it's weird that majority of the sauropods that have been in Ark's base game don't have a stomp ability or attack. And I think that's weird, because I think when I imagine like how like a sauropod will attack, I think a stomp would make sense for it, you know? So, some down points for that. The only reason why the Brontosaurus I have in B tier is its usefulness with the Rhynio taming. So, like I said earlier, this is a lot more easier to tame than a Giga or Carchanodontosaurus. So, if you just want to go straight to a Rhynio and just breed some mutations for these guys, that's a lot easier, and just have a good berry collector to feed these guys. But these guys are also really good berry collectors, so that's also that. And they have a platform saddle, but I don't see a lot of usage with the platform saddle from my scene unless you just build some little custom house and whatnot. I mean, that's nice, but you know, just an okay creature. Megaloceros. I'm gonna put this in a C tier. I do like that there's gender differences with the antlers, and obviously male deer have antlers and females don't. But there's also a little bit of a gender differences, I believe. I mean, the males are the only ones that can attack an arc, and I do think the females are a bit faster, or they have better stamina, or it's something like that. I don't remember exactly, but the females are way more better at scouting or stuff like that. The males are better for fighting. Doesn't mean they're a good creature at all, because at the end of the day, they're just deer. But they're still overall a very cool. I mean, it's just like a creature I feel like you gotta add, Like, it would feel weird if Ark didn't add kind of like a deer-like creature in the game. So I can also understand why it was added. Hesperornis, I'm gonna put this in D tier, mainly due to the fact that the only reason to really tame one is kind of like the Bronto reason is for the Rhino because some of these, because you have a chance they need a golden egg for these guys. Now the golden egg could be useful for making the special kibble, which is one of the few options you had at the start of ASA, but since Scorched Earth's out, and also the Tyrannis exist, you don't need really that special egg to make, or the golden egg to make the special kibble. So it's already, falling kind of I'm not sure if it's a creature that needs like a TLC or something, but it's just kind of one of those creatures you just see, you're like, oh, that's cool, and then you just move on, kind of. It's not. I don't see a lot of a huge necessity to tame it because even getting the golden egg, it's not like the easiest thing to do as well. The good old Stego, I'm putting this guy in a solid A tier. Yeah, I really like the TLC that was given with these guys. Probably my favorite TLC of all time, honestly, in Arc, because I just really like the plate modes, and it just makes the Stego a lot more of a switch army knife when it comes to Arc. It being a good for PvP purposes, a good soaker with its, I think, hardened plate. I could be getting the names mashed up or like wrong, so don't come at me too much. It also has like a good stamina draining little grab, which is only mainly used for like smaller creatures, but also can dismount players off smaller creatures or just drain stamina off of bigger creatures for the most part. Or, well, it does drain stamina from all creatures, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if there's like a drag weight limit or whatever, if I'll be honest, but draining stamina is very strong, I would say, in Arc, because a lot of creatures' abilities require stamina, and you need stamina to be able to run if you're in a bad situation. But it's also a really good berry gatherer, and it becomes even better with its little weight reduction, so it's just a really good solid tame to honestly have. The Thylacotherium, or what I like to call Schlatt. I mean, if you look at the two, you can see why. I'll put this in a solid B tier because I think it's a interesting creature for what it is. It's one of the very few aggressive herbivores that we have in Arc, and I kind of wish we had more, because all the herbivores in Arc, they don't really care too much about you unless you attack them, or for some of these creatures they'll just run away. But I like some more aggressive these guys, so definitely hope we get more of those in the future for votes or just added in general. But I mean, these guys are cool. I like them. They got a little big boulder or whatever they throw. I honestly don't remember what it is that they throw exactly, but I think that's pretty cool as a little turd mode or whatever. And just a cool creature in general, I think. Rhino is a F tier. It's a shame that this is our only proper spider, and yes, I know the Bloodstalker exists, but the Bloodstalker is alien, it's like an alien spider, honestly, so I don't really count it as like a true spider in Arc, but it's like, it something resembles arachnid, but this is like our only actual spider in Arc, and I think to this day it's still dumb that it can't climb walls. Like, what's stopping them from being able to do that? It's a spider. Majority of spiders can be able to climb on walls. Sure, they can't climb on all surfaces, but for the most part, they can climb on walls. It just baffles me that we have a spider, but it just can't climb up stuff, while there's other creatures that can climb up stuff. Sarko, I'm gonna put this in B tier. A good solid travel mount tame. It's a very fast tame. Definitely if you want to just traverse around the ocean, it's good. Not, I would say, the best fighter in the ocean. It could definitely get overwhelmed really easily if you have to deal with a pack of megalodons. You're gonna have a lot of struggle with that. But for the most part, it's just like a really good creature, You surface up really fast. It also has that cool death roll, which I really do like. I think it's something that's really cool. So, yeah. It's definitely also a creature I would say is worth traveling to the swamp to get. The Megalosaurus. I'm going to put this also in B tier because for the most part, you don't really tame the Megalosaurus unless you're playing an aberration for the most part. Because these guys don't really, I don't know. I don't mind the fact to have more dinosaurs better hunting at night, or maybe if there's, I don't think there's a daytime dinosaur that hunts better in the day. I don't think there is, but I could be wrong. But anyways, I like the idea of that, but it's just overall just eh. But if you're using aberration, I can definitely see, I can even see myself maybe having my mutation challenge or whatever is using these guys against Rockwell. I could definitely see that because they get all little buffs and stuff, and they're definitely very good to use. So yeah, definitely a solid dinosaur. The good old beaver. I'm gonna put this in C tier. For the most part, like I said earlier with the mammoth, these guys are really good at gathering wood, and that's kind of about it. I kind of wish that they get like a mini TLC. I don't think they need like a dramatically big one. That if you have like multiple beavers in an area, you can command them to work on a beaver dam, and then slowly over time, that dam will gather wood, cementing paste, and silica pearls. But you have to have like beavers assigned to it. I think that'd be kind of cool. I would really be down for something like that because for the most part, it's just a wood gathering creature. Which having a creature with one major purpose is fine, but I don't know. I feel like if something like the beaver has like interacts with the environment a little bit, where it has like its own thing, I think it should have the ability to make a dam. Carposuchus, or like what my friend and I named it, Gatorade, because honestly I don't remember other than I believe just one of us painted like the medical symbol or whatever, the white flag with the red plus in the middle, and it was Gatorade. Anyways, I'll say C tier. It's definitely one of the annoyances when it comes to exploring the swamp, because these guys can jump off and even dismount you off of your mounts, and they are annoying. But also, you can see the usefulness of them for being like a decent exploring creature. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. So it's just okay, I guess. The good old Therizinosaur. I'm putting these boys in S tier. I love me the big deadly chickens. Really love these guys, really do. I like the usefulness with their unique level up thing, because whenever you put up a level on their stats, you can get a level with their harvesting stuff. Really like that. They're also I would say the aggressive herbivore tame in Arc, because whenever you run into one of these guys, you're like, uh-oh, I'm in danger. So, really do like these guys, and I mean, they were the first creatures I mutated in my ASA series in general, so maybe it's also a little special connection with there, perhaps, but overall, really like these guys, really cool, and I definitely plan on using more Therizinosaurs in the future. Dimorphodon. Put this in C, because they're just kind of like a creature you just see and they're like, oh, cool little guy. I mean, definitely very annoying if you accidentally hit one of them, because now you got like 5 or 10 of them swarming at you, attacking your player, destroying your armor and stuff like that. That could be very annoying, I could see. But I mean, other than that, they're not horrible by any means, I would say, but definitely annoying tame, or not annoying tame, but like very annoying creature to deal with if you just accidentally hit one. The Angler, I'm gonna put this in a solid B tier due to its silica pearl gathering. I mean, it makes silica pearl gathering much easier with these guys, but I mean, that's just kind of what it does. I mean, it's anglerfish. Maybe I kind of wish that the Arc Ocean was a lot darker, so the whole biolume essence with its little thing would make more sense. It'll also be a little bit more terrifying with the ocean if they added that. So I feel like that would be a lot more cooler if that was a thing. But I mean, since it's not, can't talk too much about the angler. But overall, just an okay creature. Baryonyx. This is I think I might put this in D tier, honestly. I think there's stuff that can be done with the Baryonyx where I hope that maybe it gets a little TLC, because I think the pheromone stuff is kind of neat, but I feel like it doesn't make it good. I don't know if that makes sense or not. It's just overall just a okay creature. I mean, I don't know if I really say okay if it's in D tier. It's just something I really don't see myself or a lot of players really go out and tame. I feel like if you just a creature in general, or just whether it's an arc or just you just like the Baryonyx as a creature itself, I could see you tame it. But if you're not, then it's definitely a avoidable tame that you don't really need a tame at all. Bezord, good old frog. I'm gonna put the frog in. Put in B tier. It's a really, really just. I mean, it's a simple creature. Does a decent. It's a decent travel amount too for how far it jumps. It's not gonna be a good creature to use to fight against, because it's a little weak. But I mean, its main signature things, it's being very good against bugs, mainly for like I think the mega urnas and the ants or whatever the dragonfly also is called. So definitely good with that, and they also get some mending paste and stuff from it. I do wish that I can do that from just all chitin-based creatures. I really wish it did, because it just kind of makes sense. I don't know why it's just those guys, unless it's maybe because it's smaller bugs, but I don't know. Wish I was a little bit able to do that, and if it was, it'll probably be even an A tier creature. So the good old moss chops, we're gonna put this in C tier because it's definitely a creature that you just come by and then you're like, oh, that's thing, and then you try to tame it, and then you most of the times it's better for an early game tame. It could require something that you just don't have at standpoint. You're like, what? I have to get this in order to tame you? It's not worth it, and that's understandable. I mean, overall though, these guys are not bad. Decent berry gatherers and also fiber gatherers, so that's definitely something to have. So I mean, it's not horrible at all. I can see the usefulness, but sometimes the requirements that it needs to tame it with the passive feed, sometimes you're like, I don't want to do that, and that's understandable. Good old Pteranodon. It's like I think it's a good B, an early game flyer. It has horrible weight and stamina, to be honest. This thing does not fly that far, or if you have too much on you, it does not get too far, I guess. But I mean, it's like a good scout creature if you're just looking around and you just don't really care if you or the creature dies. Then you can get one of those guys, and they're not even that hard to tame. If you got some Trinkeros or even like a good old club and you bowl them, pretty simple, easy tame. Usually most times not that big of a issue, but if they get away into early game, well, might as well say goodbye to the hit. Good old Avis. I'm going to put this in B as well. It's kind of a cattle creature, pretty much. That realistically, you're not going to be using this to fight. You're just going to be using it to pretty much harvest. Whether it be harvesting its wool for fur armor or other stuff that requires wool or fur, hair, whatever. And it has its mutton, which is definitely very good to tame. Carnivorous creatures if you don't have kibble or whatever. So definitely very good. Little like kind of livestock tame, I guess you could say, which would be kind of interesting if we have more of those creatures. I can understand why we don't, but it'd be interesting to have one added again in the game. Argentavis, without a question of a doubt, good old S tier. Probably my personal opinion, my favorite flyer of all time that Arc has added. I know I praise a lot about the Rhino Natha, but since it's a bit of more of a late game tame, you're not going to be using it that much early on. Argentavis, it's not too difficult to tame that much, really. For the most part, I use like wooden structures and stuff to make the trap. It can damage it, sure, but for the most part, I get it knocked down and whatnot before it breaks through. It's just overall a pretty good, solid tame. Well, not pretty good, it's an amazing tame. Definitely like that it can pick up smaller creatures, but and when I mean small, definitely small, with its beak and talons. So if you're like me who tames snails, can carry two of them pretty much with ya. Or actually, maybe three. Probably three now I'm thinking about it, because you can probably pick up the snail. Yeah, huh. I just thought of that now. But also, I mean, you can't go wrong with the good old duo theme, Kylus or Argentavis. That duo's old as time, or like peanut butter and jelly. You just combine those two because they're so good together, It also has the weight reduction to all items, has really good stamina. I mean, it's not the fastest creature, but you can close distances without needing to rest that much often. You could definitely go across the map with one rest stop with the Argentavis. But also gets a little like regeneration with health and stamina with its corpse harvesting mechanic, which could definitely help in a pinch if you just took a lot of damage and whatnot recently. And definitely very useful, very useful. Overall, love the tame, and also it does have a smithy setup. I don't want to use it that much with it, but just a really good tame. Diplodocus, or what I like to, or not Diplodocus, Diplodocus, I think. Or what someone I know like to call it doggy, because it's like a dog. Big sauropod dog. I think I would put it in B tier, because for that memory alone. I mean, it's not a good creature that much, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, it can be annoying maybe if it's off ledges and whatnot, like you can apply the knockback. But other than that, I don't see a huge use, because, I mean, Sure, you can have a lot of people ride onto it because it has like the multiple person saddle, but I would say it's definitely way more PVE than PvP kind of creature. So, and that's not bad at all. I mean, not all creatures would be PvP design or PvE design. That's just kind of how Arc has always been, you know. So, just a little fun sauropod to have every once in a while. The Megalania, I'm gonna put this also in B tier. It's a pretty good, decent cave creature. For the most part, you can really only find it in caves, so that's that. But it's not even that much of a common spawn. Sometimes it'll take you a little bit, or you have to really look up because it could kind of blend in the like terrain above you and whatnot. So definitely keep an eye out. But overall a decent creature. I do not know because I have not bred Megalania's ASA, but it's the creatures I know as far as I know in ASE that if you breed, you can still get the toxic, the Megalania venom or toxic. I'm not sure which one it is offhand, and it's the only ones that can like get it from even breeding. Not all creatures have it. I don't know if that's still in ASA or they removed it. I don't know. But it's just like a nice little neat thing. And honestly, I kind of wish that all of your tame creatures have that because sometimes it's just annoying to travel one area just to get just a couple of a specific trophy. And now, not all the creatures for that's the same, but it's sometimes it'd be annoying for at least a Titana boa because they don't spawn that crazy amount, but they're like more of an uncommon spawn. But you're not even guaranteed to get the venom all the time. So, you know. Definitely nice for the Megalanian to have, though. Basilosaurus. I'm gonna put this guy in the B tier. A good way to produce metal, or if you want to kill them for all that. I said metal, didn't I? A good way to produce oil from these guys, and also killing them also gives you a bunch of oil if you want to do that. So that's that. I also do like the in-game interaction between it and the mantas, seeing all like the mantas follow it. Kind of reminds me how like I forget what the fish is called offhand, but like the ones that usually follow around sharks and whatnot. It's like that. It's just like very neat to see, pretty much. Taming these guys aren't that bad, really. I mean, the only issue is the mantas you gotta deal with, but like it's a passive tame, so it's not really bad at all. And these guys are pretty good for the caves, honestly. Underwater caves, I should say, because they are immune to the jellyfish. And I also think the electric eel paralysis, so that's good. They're not the strongest, I would say, battle equipped, but they're definitely way more useful for their bulk. So if there's a cave with most likely a mosasaurus or two, so you might be a little bit of trouble, but it's manage it, I would imagine, for the most part. The Titanosaur, it's just gonna be a C tier. I don't know. It's just kind of like the same thing with me with the Giga. It's just I'm a sauropod, but big, and that's kind of about it. They're very strong. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely feel like once the Dreadnoughtus gets added in ASA, I'm gonna even forget about this scene existing. And that's understandable that I forget it exists because I don't see it that often. But I feel like this creature might get pushed down in the tier list at some point in the far future once Dreadnoughtus is added. Direwolves is a solid B tier. It's definitely a glass cannon creature due to the fact that it does not have the ability to have any saddle. I mean, it does get some extra damage reduction with its pack and howl and stuff like that, so that's definitely very good. But these guys can hurt and a lot of with packs, but also they can easily get destroyed also at the same time. It's kind of weird how to say. I mean, there's a definition, obviously, when it comes to being a glass cannon creature, very low health, but deal significant amount of damage in packs. So, pretty good creature overall, I would say. Terrorbird, this is like a D tier creature, honestly. Just more annoying to deal with them, honestly. They just, once they see you, they just charge at you and peck you to death, pretty much. They're just fine. I mean, they have the unique ability to like flutter or whatever whenever they're like in the air, so I guess that's kind of cool. I mean, the Gigantoraptor now does that, so that ability isn't as cool as it used to be, I guess. But I mean, it's fine. This guy, I'm gonna call this guy Mean Bird, F tier, not fun, just steals stuff from you, annoying. Anyways, the good old Quetzal. It's definitely a C tier creature. I wish there's a lot more to this creature, which is why I'm more hesitant of adding more bigger flyers in Arc, is because then we have guys like these, like, come on. Can we have a little update or whatnot to these guys? I mean, I think it's a cool creature, you know, like a big bird. I blinked out whatever their family name is called. But I mean, I think they're cool. I do like the whole platform saddle and stuff like that, and like that. I mean, I wish there was just a bit more to the creature in general, because it's kind of like just big flying creature, and that's kind of it. So, wish I had a little bit more abilities, but you know, maybe we'll get TLC with that guy. Then little monkey. It's a C tier. It's just a little pet, but it's a pet I also forget that kind of exists. It's actually, we might put it in B tier because it does have a little bit of usefulness. Like, it can unlock doors and whatnot, and it throws poop and whatnot at enemy creatures or whatever nearby you. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Just, you know, a little cute little pet. Little compy. I'm just gonna put this in D tier because for the most part, they're not useful to be tame. You know, I shouldn't put it in F now. I'm thinking about it. They're not useful tames, and they're just annoying. I mean, they don't really kill you, but at all for the most part, but they really don't do anything, really. I mean, I think I've heard, like, early days in Arc, these guys used to be very annoying to deal with at the start of your Arc journey, because I think they were actually decently strong. But for the most part, they're just kind of, you know, eh. Alright, we got the Sabertooth. We'll probably put the Sabertooth in. I'll put it in B tier, because I mean, it's our only prehistoric feline in Arc. I mean, you know, we have the Pyro main and the Shadow main in Arc that are other felines, but as a prehistoric feline, this is the only one we got. Definitely wish we would maybe consider to get another one. I'm not a huge want of a new feline in Arc, but I can understand why people would want one, but it's just not my personal thing. It's kind of weird to say if it's like a beginning creature, because for some maps like Scorched Earth, I could definitely see you having this as like an early game mount, because there's a lot more of them accessible. Because for the most part, at least on the island, you gotta, like, you know, travel a little bit decently in the mountains or even on Carnivore Island to find them. And for the most part, I don't think you're gonna be doing that at the start of your journey, but I don't know, maybe some people were more braver than I. But just overall, decent creature, to be honest. Good old Onyx. And these guys are just, they're just bats. Very annoying bats. That give you mega rabies or whatever, and that's just annoying to deal with. I mean, you know, it's easily curable with the antidote, but it's just like, great. Now I'm dying, pretty much. They're just annoying cave creature to deal with. Megalodons, we're gonna put these guys in a B tier. I like the little, like, bleed and the like little pack buff that they get in Arc, so they definitely have made Megalodons a lot more useful with the little TLC that they got. Still an ugly model, if I'm gonna be honest. Definitely wish some of these dinosaurs got some model updates, because he's ugly, you're also pretty ugly. So definitely hopes it gets a little updated with that. So, but overall, a cool, decent creature. Oviraptor, I'm actually going to put this in an A tier, because as a person that likes to breed dinosaurs in Arc, these guys are a lifesaver. They just save so much time when it comes to either getting your eggs for your kibble, but also lowering the breeding like timer or something like that. Huge lifesavers. They just make the process just a little bit more easier. I just can't stress how useful these guys are good at with that. But also in ASA, they got the whole egg collecting buff, which is perfect, because sometimes people don't want to play with mods. That's understandable. I don't use the ability, but I know others do, where they can collect eggs for you, so you can just go AFK, do whatever you want to do, come back, and he has all the eggs that collected, and then you just do hatching, stuff like that. So that also, I probably bumped this thing way more in A than B, but Gallimimus. Now this is an S tier. Just put in B tier. I mean, it's just a good traveling mount. Very speedy, but that's just kind of it. Traveling mount, very fast, but, you know, which adds something to it, but it's just fine, you know. Porlovia. Now, I think these guys are kind of cool. I like their design. They're just annoying, so I'm gonna put them in B tier, honestly. Kind of wish they were rideable, honestly. I think that would be kind of cool if they were a rideable creature. And I feel like they're big enough to be a rideable creature, I think. trying to remember their size at the top of my head, but be cool to ride on these guys. Unless I'm mistaken that they aren't rideable, and then I'm looking silly right now. Paraceratherium, probably a C tier for me. I don't really go out and tame these guys because they're just like smaller brontos with a platform saddle. I mean, I know they're definitely used decent amount in PvP, but since, like I said, I'm not a PvP player for the most part, don't really use these guys at all, to be honest. So they're just kind of alright to me. Arthroplura, I would say they are a C tier for me, honestly. Now it definitely fits the annoying creature to deal with, but this guy has a decent amount of uses with it. That being mostly, I would say, PvP reasons, but being able to like break the structures and destroy player armor. But it also have the whole damage resistance. Well, not resistance, but damage taken back. Things like 1/4 or something of the damage you deal to it, you take it back, which can make these guys very dangerous and like packs of these guys. So I can definitely see the appeal, and also I think some centipedes are kind of cool. I mean, I'm not sure if this thing's more of a centipede or millipede or whatever. So I think that's why I kind of like that guy a bit more. But other than that, it's just okay. It's okay. The Mosasaurus. I'm gonna put this thing in B tier. I do like the Mosasaurus as a creature as a whole. Kind of to use an arc because it's just, I mean, it's the Giga of the ocean, so it's like one of the biggest creatures or the big apex creature you can have. But other than that, it's just kind of because its turn radius sucks. I mean, it does have the tech saddle, but I don't know. I kind of wish that they give a look at the older tech saddles for some of the creatures like the Rex, Mosasaurus, Tapiharta, etc. And maybe give them abilities or special things. Because I think it'd be cool if these guys had like maybe homing rockets, or like maybe it'll be like a little barrier or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. The good old Daedon. I'm going to put this in B tier because I do see the purpose and usefulness of the Daedon. I just don't get them that often because they're just kind of annoying to keep alive because they have so much food and they usually eat pretty fast and their food sometimes drains way too much, and it's like, oh, and there goes my Daedon. But also, even though their healing is nice, I would say it's not like a needed when it comes to the boss fights. Sometimes you just need raw power, honestly. And if you're just running a Tyrannus, I would say in the boss fights, you don't need the Daedon that much because sure, the healing's nice, but if you're like me, who use a Therizinosaur in the boss fights, you don't need the Daedon because you could technically probably do a lot more healing to your Therizinosaur by itself with the sweet vegetable cakes. And not only that, you have a very limited amount of healing you can do because of the Daedon's food. Because it costs, like hunger and stuff to heal up the Tyrannus. And once that's all, or not Tyrannus, or your dinosaurs, and once that's all done, you just kind of a useless Daedon. They just have wasted kind of a dino slot for like another dinosaur for it. So I don't know. I personally am a little bit iffy with the Daedon. Maybe if they lowered the amount of food required or like food needed to do one little heal thing, I would like them a bit more. But for the most part, I only tame them just to do some solo healing because the amount of food it will like cost you just to get these, just to heal up even one dinosaur is a lot, and having them in groups just drains your Daedon's food. Sure, you have a lot of raw meat and stuff, but it's gonna take a little while for it to eat all that up and whatnot to be able to use it. Pelagornis, just an annoying creature, put in a B. Dung Beetle, we're gonna put this fella in good old B tier because definitely very useful with the ASA little update that this guy can automatically collect poop, which is good because now you can have like a little for like oil slash fertilizer farm with Phiomias, because if you just put Cophiomias or like whatever dinosaur you know is gonna poop a lot, this guy's collecting a lot of it. But also the thing, the collect radius is surprisingly big for the dinosaurs, so, or for the beetles, so don't need necessarily only Phiomias in the area. And if you're just going like AFK for breeding or just in general waiting for stuff to be done in Ark, you can get quite a bit of fertilizer and oil. I mean, it's not the best way to get oil, I would say, in Ark, but a little extra oil doesn't hurt anybody. And lastly, we have the Pelagornis. I'm gonna put this in C tier. It's just a it's just like a one of the very few flyers that somewhat interact with the water, like the Rhynio Natha. The Rhino Natha can actually go in the water. Pelagornis just swims on top of it, and I kind of wish we had at least another creature like that. It's kind of cool. But I mean, it's just it's just a Pelagornis, nothing too crazy about. But yeah, this is my tier list right here that I have for all the creatures that you can find on the island. And like I said earlier, I'm probably gonna do one in the future for the DLC creatures of ASE, and then in the far future, probably do one on all the creatures added in ASA. So, what do you think of my tier list? Do you agree with my opinions of all the creatures I've ranked, or did you disagree? Let me know down in the comments below what creature you think I should have had maybe as S tier, or what creature maybe you think is more of an F tier. But yeah, I'll probably catch you in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.